How do you feel about salt? Using that with what you've been talking about so far, heavily animal based, but still some plants. This is something that's often demonized. How do you
Oh,
look at
yeah.
that inclusion within
Yeah.
your diet?
Salt is essential for life. It's essential for digestion. We need the sodium part of salt to make enzymes that digest carbohydrates, and we need the chloride part of salt to make hydrochloric acid for digesting meats. I like to say the creator did not put a salt taste in your mouth to torture you, but because you need to put salt on your food so you can digest it. Salt is involved in the repair of glial cells in the brain. It's very important for um, adrenal cortex function. People who are under a lot of stress actually need more salt. And we ate a lot more salt up until the time of refrigeration than we do today. We typically, human beings in Europe and America ate 3 teaspoons, 1 tablespoon of salt per day. Now our consumption is 1.5 teaspoons, and that does satisfy our requirements for sodium and chloride. But any less is gonna be a problem, and, of course, that's what the government wants us to do, is cut back to 3/4 of a teaspoon a day, and the way they're doing this is with an additive called Simonex. It's this artificial salt. Look it up on the Internet. It's in all processed foods. It's even in sodas. It's in energy drinks. Um, and we have no idea what this Simonex is doing to our hypothalamus or, any of these important organs. But what we do know is if you're not getting enough salt in your food, you will eat more to get the salt. Your body needs it. So, um, uh, fundamentally, your body needs salt. So, all this, and by the way, it's not labeled. The Simonex is not labeled. It's labeled as artificial flavors. And it's in minuscule amounts, so the FDA says, "Well, we don't need to label it." What could go wrong?
So when it comes to salt, you mentioned the 3 teaspoons a day. Is salting to taste a pretty safe way to go?
Yeah, absolutely the safe way to go. Your body will tell you how much salt you need, and how much salt is too much. When you've eaten something that's too salty. You just have to stop. It doesn't taste good.
And how do you feel about these different types of salt? We have table salt, often iodized, if not always. Himalayan
Yeah,
pink
yeah.
salt, sea salts. What do you personally like to
Well,
consume?
the Weston A. Price Foundation publishes a shopping guide, just came out with 2026, and we have a whole page on natural salts that we recommend. We don't recommend table salt. We don't recommend iodized salt or refined salt, but salt that has all the minerals in it, especially trace minerals from the ocean.
As we're talking about salt, iodized salt, it gets me thinking about supplementing with iodine. It's something that, the way I understand it, is barely found in the food these days. How do you feel about iodine?
Yeah, so I think I've heard from people, they heavily iodize salt in Europe, um, and it really has a negative effect on them. Some people are extremely sensitive to iodine. Now you're putting it in the salt, everybody has to eat it. I think it's better to get your salt from food, and one of the best foods is butter. Butter has salt in it, and especially if the cows are within 60 miles of the ocean. So, New Zealand butter, Irish butter, or I'd love to see a butter industry on the eastern shore of Maryland. It would be fabulous. There's a lot of marshes there, and uh, just like the Beurre d'Isigny in France, from salt marshes. And of course, you absorb it very well when it's in the butter. Um, there are plants that are rich in iodine. Asparagus is one of them. Seafood, of course, and we should be eating seafood a couple times a week. Oysters, fish eggs, shellfish, any kind of seafood, though.
If you enjoyed that clip, you're going to want to head over here and catch a full episode. I'll see you over there. How do you look at somebody trying to form a healthy diet only on plants?
Can't be done. Over the long term, you're going to get very sick. Dr. Price tried to find a healthy population that only ate plant foods, and he had to admit that he didn't.